when you've dedicated your entire life to growing the sport of water polo and to representing your country, the moment you retire, people aren't as supportive as they are, especially when it's something new. I started thinking about what the future of water polo needs: technology, measurables, system, combine, for water polo players to have objectives that they need to get better and improve. But in a small sport, you get a lot of this closed-mindedness where it's like, I don't want to share because maybe that's going to be ripped away from me, which has happened. So I understand most of the people who are hesitant, but you have to open your minds in order for this sport to be where we all want it to be.
You're on your back, right? These are the things that are going to lead to inconsistent shots and where you don't want it to go. So starting on this side. I was drawn to water polo definitely because it was a family affair. My dad is from Puerto Rico and played on the Puerto Rican national team. And my mom is actually one of 13 and has 4 brothers, and they all played water polo as well. Growing up, I was familiar with the water polo ball itself, but didn't really know the sport. I was, playing soccer, basketball, swimming, all the sports in the book. And finally, water polo came to our area. Because of that, I was like, all right, my family obviously has done this sport. I have seen this yellow ball around the house. Let's give it a try, And honestly, I tried it and fell in love. Imagine you have that mirror in front of you. What is that goalie seeing, right?
I was drawn to water polo at a young age because my dad was a coach. So he used to take my sister and I in the carpool lane and drive us to his junior team trainings and national team trainings. And even though I didn't really play water polo, I would just sit there on the pool and watch it after I finished my homework and jump in. At the age of 8, I never played water polo. I asked my dad if I could jump in and play, and he goes, "Do you know how?" And I go, yeah. I jumped in and never stopped from there.
Good job, guys. All right, now we're going to test your legs. Pass the ball right to someone's hand. They're going to tip it up.
I do this big winter academy every year, and I invite Olympians, different ones, and they come, they help out, but they also tell their story and answer questions. But Maggie was at the camp, and a little girl raised her hand. She said, "How did you choose your number? It's number 6. And all of a sudden, Maggie turned red, and she's like, "I would have been any number to represent the Olympics. You don't ever choose, you earn it," right? And it stuck with me.
Once we came together, it was instant click, of, hey, we have this same mission, we have this same dream, and together we can be so much more powerful.
See, when I retired, the first thing I did, I spent 2 years traveling the world and just collecting data, talking to coaches, talking to players, talking to managers, talking to federations, and just kind of letting my mind brainstorm. And I think not a lot of people do that, right? They don't have the opportunity to. And I just did it. I just went around, and I have a notebook about this thick that's just full of ideas that came to me. And these have all been the starter points for why we created a universal metric system in water polo. Why technology is important.
I think one thing about 6/8 Sports that people overlook is our incredible software where we can look at performance and performance indicators and be able to identify the impact a player has, not only in a game, but in their own history.
Blues are black on alpha, so I want to see a 3-3 right away. Now, go. One person.
Many people see 6/8 with our academy. They see it with our camps and events because that's, easier to see. But really what 6/8 is about is being a performance analytics company and bringing data and technology finally to the sport.
Now we could use that data for the kids in the future. If all the kids could look and say, this is what Tony did to get to his height, this is what Maggie Steffens did to get to her height, that is valuable information.
You know, I just got back from the Olympics and all of our statistics were on pen and paper and they are wet and have yet to see them at the Olympics. So can we as 6'8" finally bring data and technology to the sport and revolutionize the sport? Any sort of challenge is way more fun to share it with your teammates and people you love. So I think that's my favorite part. You get to do your dream, but you get to do it with other people that you really, really love. So that's my favorite.
Once the ball's in, Kavanaugh gets the ball first. Push it pass goes in. And a Viking shot goes in the net. The Vikings go ahead and tie up. Feeds it in. And that draws an exclusion. Charged against 11 Dark.
So right now, and if you go on NBA or NFL, you see so much data and you know that there's people behind, not even the coaches on the field, there's people up in the boxes watching games, analyzing defenses and offenses. And water polo before now has never had an emphasis on data.
We can finally use data to help market the sport and share knowledge. We can finally take water polo to the next level with 6'8" Sports in our software.
We don't even have a standardized test. NFL has the combine. You know, it's a set of exercises, but at the end it's all data that you can get and it tells you how good of an athlete you are based on how fast you run the 40. So what we've done at 6'8" is tried to make a set standard around the world of how to say you're gonna be a good water polo player based on these 7 exercises. Okay, this is editing the plus minus. So that's 42. We have developed the game desk for the athlete, but now with the feedback we're getting is all the coaches want to use it. And I think that people are starting to understand it and see how useful it is.
You're able to analyze your performance and keep a, resume of your statistics in your games over time.
I've played countless games in my career over a span of 13 years. I can't tell you a single stat from any of my games except maybe college. But age group, I have nothing to show for all of those games I played. Whereas other players, especially big recruiting sports, like they have a full profile of all their stats from every game they played growing up. So we really want, it's something invaluable to have, especially when you grow up, you'd love to look back and be like, hey, this is what I did in high school.
Said a lot of good things, but the one thing he always told me, I don't care if you don't show up with your body sometimes, but you never don't show up with your head. And that's what I need of you. If you're tired and whatnot, or you're saving yourself, don't do that. That makes no sense. But the reality is tomorrow, show up, everyone knows, and ready for 6-on-5. Right? We're going to crush, go through it. A lot of new scenarios. I want us competitive.
In California, water polo is so much more advanced and so much more popular than in every other place in the country. So you'll have little bits like Florida has pretty good, Texas, in the east, New York, Pennsylvania area, and then the Midwest. Everywhere else, it's not a very common sport. I still to this day find myself meeting someone and they're like, what's water polo? Even though it's been an Olympic sport for over 100 years.
I think about our national team and even on the men's side, mainly every athlete, not everyone, but most of the team is from California, of the entire United States. And so to me and to us, that's stating that we're not spreading the sport.
Last 2 laps, okay, and then we're gonna pass. So I want us doing that same.
What's limiting water polo's growth in the US is pools.
It costs money to rent a pool or to be a part of a community or be a part of a club.
Even we have that problem as really well-known Olympians and well-known companies. It can be difficult to get pool time. But I see that situation improving now with people thinking a little bit outside of the box and using bodies of water like lakes or bays, even oceans, to really grow the sport, which I think is hugely important.
Passing the ball back and forth. If you pass the ball back and forth in 6-on-5, you're a waste of time. What you want to do when you are attacking a 6-on-5, you have to attack with a purpose. So every time you have a 6-on-5, that's why the best 6-on-5 teams in the world are the ones.
At 6-8 Sports, what we're really doing differently is we're focusing on individual development and growth. So whereas most groups are clubs or teams or federations that are focusing on the growth of their athletes overall, we really care about each individual and finding a way to let them know exactly what their strengths and weaknesses are, where they need to improve, and then give them the tools to improve.
Every kid should have the chance to be great. If they are or not, that's for time to tell. But everybody should be given that opportunity. I think what we do is allow it by really concentrating on quality training and positive reinforcement. We feel that we can get that player to kind of go over that hump and make up for lost years.
The biggest hurdles for us is coaching education. I think there needs to be more out there for coaches so they understand, even if you've never played the sport, how you need to progress in teaching each athlete.
We see a lot of times coaches and players that come from just a one-way system. The problem with a lot of those kind of players is once they leave that system, they're lost. So the idea is that if you can teach the techniques and be confident in what you believe and being mentally, I don't like to use the word tough in that situation, but be mentally resilient to go ahead and work what needs to be done to keep you there. I think that's what I would like to see them leave with.
6-8 Sports is here with the premise that we want to develop a sport that has been put in the shadows for so long.
If we can create more exposure, whether it's with a professional league or with more games on TV, or maybe it's 6-8 Sports, creating more 6-8 collegiate showcases and putting it on a bigger screen and putting it on a bigger stage. Just trying to get it out there more to show kids the potential of where they could go and that they don't have to stop after college.
I think working with the federation and working with the different committees, we hope that we can make the sport, known, because you know what? I feel that if we just get the person in the pool, they'll come back. It's just that they need to know the sport.
Water polo is starting to, I think, open a lot of doors and challenge a lot of these mainstream sports. And we're really looking forward to seeing where it's going to go. And I think athletes should definitely take advantage of getting exposure in their sport.
6-8 Sports is here, like I said, to revolutionize the game. We're finally bringing data and technology to the sport, and that's going to help us go from here to here. Even just with that little step of everyone using the game desk, everyone having the 6-8 Sports app, people running through the 6-8 challenge, it's going to allow us to finally bring ourselves to the level that a lot of other sports have been at for years.
Maybe we can get there, so I'm very proud of both Maggie and Tony to do what they have done to actually bring opportunity for these kids and then really develop the sport and show them, hey, this is an amazing sport. Come over here and let us help you.